I am pleased to announce that we have Mary Vidarte in the studio with us. Mary is an author, an entrepreneur, a speaker, and a corporate trainer. She's also the CEO of Vidarte Marketing and Vidarte Properties, LLC. And she's getting a standing ovation from all the elementary school kids are cheering for her. This is superb. Her heart and passion is marketing and sales. She has 20-plus years of experience in domestic and international sales, and she has written a book called Payday to Profits. Hello, Mary.
Good morning, Cleve.
How are you?
I am wonderful.
We're so glad to have you on the show. And I wanted to talk very quickly. By the way, if somebody needs to reach you, I think they can go to maryvidarte.com, and that's MaryVidarte.com. I don't want to mess that up. I feel like I did one time when you were on the show before. But talk to us a little bit about your book, Payday to Profits. If somebody wants to order one, how do they do it? And then who needs to read a book like this?
My book is designed for entrepreneurs as well as corporate people.
Okay.
And it's all about marketing and sales. And I try to give an approach of when you're trying to decide if you should do your own marketing and sales.
Yes.
There are questions to help you walk through that.
So it's almost like in a workbook format. It says, here's the lesson you need to learn, and then here's an exercise you can go through. So, for example, we're going to talk about targeting and then hitting your target, and it gives them an example of how to determine who their target market should be.
Correct.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What does somebody need to do in order to find their target? Because if somebody thinks, hey, I'm going to get into a new business and I'm going to sell whatever, I'm going to sell pots and pans, well, they think everybody is my target market. Well, the problem is if your target market is everybody, you're probably going to be unsuccessful because you can't target everybody because you don't know their personality. You're not in their sphere. You need to target somebody, even if you ultimately target a group that makes your market a little bit smaller.
Exactly. So the first thing you need to know is what your product is. And for some people, they're still deciding exactly what their product will look like.
Right.
And once you've decided what your product is, and then you want to look at who your buyers will be.
Okay.
And if you're not connected well with that information, then your end result of who you're targeting may not be quite what you were looking for.
Right. So as an example, if somebody wanted to sell embroidery, have a little embroidery design service and where they embroidered shirts and hats and stuff like that, and they wanted to decide a target market, how would you help them walk through the process of finding that target?
First, I want to find out what their current market is.
Okay. If they're selling to anybody now.
If they have a current market, and who their competition's market is.
Oh, right.
Because that tells you a lot about what you need to be doing. And you want to think about who your potential new buyers are going to be. So you have to know whether or not the market is big enough to hold you if you're going to be entering it.
Yes.
And if it's big enough for you to expand. And if you realize that the market is crowded and there's really not enough room for you to expand, you may choose to change your product a little bit.
Choose something else.
Yes.
So with that same example of an embroidery business, maybe if a lady wanted to do it and she had kids in high school, she might want to choose, local high schools for being the target market. But if there's 4 or 5 people already doing that and targeting the same group, I guess she would want to target a different group, or she might want to move on and sell something else.
Yes, and this is the tricky part about being an entrepreneur. The most successful people sometimes are ahead of the pack. In other words, they've identified a market that hasn't been tapped into yet. It's easy to be the second guy or the third guy coming in because there's an example already out there. The problem is the first guy and the second guy may have taken up the market share. So you have to pay attention to each product in each area.
That is so true. If you just joined us, you're listening to the Call Cleve Atlanta Real Estate Show. We have live in the studio with us Mary Vidarte, who is the author of Payday to Profits, which is an exceptionally good book. She can be reached by going online to maryvidarte.com, MaryVidarte.com. Let me give that one more time. maryvidarte.com, MaryVidarte. Now, I know, Mary, when you were in the studio with us last time, you had an upcoming seminar or something going on. Do you have another one of those?
I do.
Well, tell us about it.
Yes, we have a seminar coming up on Saturday, September the 3rd.
Wow.
It'll be an all-day event here in Atlanta.
Okay.
And it's for either corporate people or entrepreneurs or people who would like to become entrepreneurs. I'll have updated information on my website to tell you more about it. And this is the first level. For those who are trying to figure out how to set up their marketing and their sales. And I do also teach about general business practices as well.
And my guess is this is kind of an intimate group. I mean, this is
Yes.
a smaller group, so I mean, you get to spend good one-on-one time
Yes.
with people that come to something like this. Am I right?
Yes, I choose to have smaller groups so that people can talk about their businesses and really get into some of the details so that when they walk away, they have a list of things that they're going to attempt to do, and they're going to have resources and contacts. And the other people that will be at the training will also be new contacts for them.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. And if you want more information, just visit maryvidarte.com, MaryVidarte.com. So, Mary, how do you hit your target? Once you identify what is your target group, then how do you make sure you hit that target? It seems simple. I've identified my target. I'm going to aim and shoot at my target, and I should be able to get it. But I'm sure there's a lot more to it than that.
There is, and I'll relate this to real estate, is that, you may know
That's
that...
good, because that's what I do, Mary, so I like that. That's a great tie-in. I like that. Alfie, didn't you do a good job on that?
Dynamite drop-ins, like she went to broadcasting school.
Oh, yeah, there you go. If you have a home in a neighborhood where lots of children live,
Yes.
you need someone who's going to market your property that understands the needs of people who have kids.
Right.
So if you bring in a broker who focuses on Buckhead with people who live in condos that don't have children, they may not be as prepared to target what a family is looking for. And
so when you think about that, in that example, their messaging would be all wrong.
Absolutely.
So I've identified my target market, but my messaging is designed for a different market, so therefore nobody pays any attention to it. They just absolutely ignore it.
I think the first two things, whenever you're buying anything, is you're going to look at the photograph of the product that you're buying, hopefully a nice house.
Yep.
And then you're going to look at the script describing it. And I'll give you a funny example of how I know this personally. And when you experience it personally, you can really relate to it.
Alfie and I will determine whether or not this is funny. You go ahead. Put it out there. Alfie, you're going to rate her 1 to 10. Okay, here we go.
I started dating,
Yes.
and I put an ad on Match.com. And the first thing I learned was you look at the photo. And when the guy hasn't shaved in a week, his hat is turned around backwards.
There was a little misrepresentation or there's not a lot of good messaging on Match.com.
Well, this is his advertisement of what he's selling. And for me, that wasn't going to be a good match because I was not seeing that as what I was shopping for. And then you look at the ad of how they describe what they're looking for.
Yes.
My solution was to put current photos on and be really honest.
Yep.
And I wrote a poem.
You did?
A poem so that people who didn't like to read or write probably would not be contacting me. And if they didn't understand the words in the poem, they would not be contacting me. So you want to
So you were specific enough with your message
Yes.
that anybody it didn't resonate with, they weren't your guy.
Absolutely.
I like that. So MaryVidarte.com, MaryVidarte.com. If you want to send her a tweet or a poke or a kiss or whatever you do on Match.com, you can do it through the website as well.
This is Call Cleve Atlanta Real Estate Show on Talk Radio 640 WGST.